We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 10 of Vikings Uncensored. We have made double-digit episodes, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, time flies.
It does. For those of you who may not know, I'm Rhino, and with me always is my co-host, Lance.
Hello again.
How is she going today, Lance?
Oh, it's all right. Look, it's getting hot out there.
Yeah, it's warmed up a little bit.
I'm a little bit further south than you, but
yeah. So you got that more tropical climate down there.
That's right.
So we got a little bit to go through here this week. We're kind of hitting that dead period, between the draft and
things are kind of starting to fire up, and a little bit of a dead area there between now and training camp, but we're clawing and fighting for some news here, so we'll see what we got here.
Yeah, so we got a few things for you here. We'll roll through this week anyway. Start off with the latest in NFL and Vikings news.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big ones that came out today was that it was on actually came from Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, Undisputed or whatever their show is. Shannon Sharp had called Julio Jones on the phone and asked him about, what's going on for this season. And he said straight out about Atlanta. He says,
fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks, don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
He doesn't expect he doesn't expect to be playing with Atlanta this year. Now
Atlanta was asking for a first rounder for him.
Yeah, he's still a good receiver, but he's 32 years old.
Exactly. You could maybe squeeze 2 more good seasons out of him, and that's even that's asking a lot, at his age.
Yeah, and Shannon asked him, well, any about where to go. He said, well, he wants to go to a competitor because he wants to win more than anything. But
Tom is down in Tampa, like, hey, come here.
Yeah, I don't even think they can afford him right now. I mean,
right.
According to Over the Cap, I looked this up here a little bit ago. Over the next 3 years, for 2021, he's got a cap hit of $23.05 million. And then for 2022 and 2023, it's $19.26 million.
Well, that tells you exactly why Atlanta's trying to cut bait here.
Well, yeah, because they've
trying to save money.
They've already got a cap hit with Matt Ryan that's, Cousins-esque. It's in that, I believe it's $40 million.
They got an up-and-comer there at wide receiver too, so.
Yeah, they got Ridley, and they've got, some younger guys that, I don't care who it is, right?
It's a business.
I can't say, paying $23 million to a receiver right now, it just doesn't make, yes, it's a pass-happy league. It's this and everything else.
Of course, they made this contract back when he was,
Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
Cashing in. Yeah.
And of course, as I say, we can't afford to pay $23 million. I'm sure within the next 4 years, we're going to be paying Justin Jefferson that kind of money.
He is not coming here, people. So
no, that was one of our favorite shows that likes to recklessly speculate. Had a thing on their show today about what it would take, and it was the stuff they were going through.
I like what the foundation we have here.
Yeah. I have no desire. If salary cap wasn't a thing, sure. But
maybe back when we had like fucking Bobby Wade running around out there, then I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, bring in somebody like him. But there's no need.
Not, and especially for what, the style of offense that we've been running. We don't run very many 3 wide receiver sets.
Exactly. We have Irv, man, and I'm happy with that.
And I'm still, I'm not opposed to bringing in, somebody with some experiences, for 3rd wide receiver, like a D.D. Westbrook or somebody like that.
Yeah,
we can probably get at a decent rate, but not. I have absolutely no desire for Julio Jones at $23 million.
Let's pay Julio Jones $23 million and come in and play a slot, not slot, but wide receiver 3.
Yeah, 10, 12 snaps a game.
Right.
Oh, boy.
No,
besides, we've got Chad Beebe. We're fine.
Remain calm. All is well.
I've seen reports about Beebe, like how he's our best kept secret.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love you, Chad, but come on.
Yeah, let's be real here.
Right.
And realistically, I mean, I'm really interested.
You know that Chad Beebe is Don Beebe's son?
I was not aware of that. That's about like saying, did you know that Adam Thielen used to play at Mankato when he's from Detroit Lakes? I mean,
What?
Yeah, who knew?
Right. Did you know Patrick Mahomes' dad played a picture for the Twins?
No, I did not know that either. Wow. I mean, look at the knowledge you're learning on this show. And we're only on topic number 1. You're not going to get
man. It's got to be
big info for a big show. I mean, you're not going to get this kind of information on all those other podcasts. Only here are you going to find that kind of hidden information.
Thanks for coming, guys. We're here all week.
It's all down here. All down here from Hill, or downhill from here.
Oh man, Beebe, you got me.
Oh geez. That topic got about as broke as Chad Beebe getting out of the shower in the morning.
No shit. No.
Ah, my liver, my liver, my liver.
Slow it down, dude.
Oh, yeah, my liver, my liver, my liver.
Oh shit.
Anyway, we'll move on from that one. We kind of beat that in the ground. Surprise, over in Cheeseland.
We thought that was funny. This is even funnier.
Yeah. No Aaron Rodgers at OTAs today. There again.
Oh, man, surprise.
Breaking news. Nobody had guessed that was going to happen. I mean,
he's out taping Jeopardy somewhere in Hollywood.
Yeah, so, they signed about 72 no-name quarterbacks last week to come throw during OTAs. So they're fine. They got Blake Bortles as their new starting quarterback, so it's all good in the hood.
I bet if Tebow was available, they probably had him on the roster.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah,
that's, I guess, the biggest stuff that's gone on. Like I said, OTAs are starting this week for most teams, including us. Day one.
This is where, after this week, we're going to have some pretty decent news coming up, I believe, once these ATAs start rolling.
And like I said, we're recording on Monday here, and the Vikings were reported for the first OTA today. We don't have any news on it yet, but we'll discuss next week on how the OTAs.
Hey, episode 11, come back.
Yeah, exactly. We'll always keep the fans wanting more. That's rule number 1 of broadcasting. So now we'll move on to some regular Vikings news. We did have a major signing this week. This is actually last week, I guess. Vikings signed cornerback Perry Nickerson.
Journeyman.
He would have to improve quite a bit to even be a journeyman. He's just
he's just a man.
Yeah, he's in 3
seasons. Been to a couple cities.
In 3 seasons, he's played for 3 different teams. He's got 0 interceptions and 1 pass defensed in 21 games. I mean, I think I might have 1 pass defense in 21 games. So that tells you about the quality of what we're getting with Mr. Nickerson. He's one of those guys that, hey, we need another one to fill out the 90-man roster. So
maybe he'll turn it around.
Went down to the 7-Eleven and found him. And hey, you want to come?
We do have the quarterback whisperer here in Minnesota, so you just never really know.
Yeah, he's been an untapped potential until Mike Zimmer gets a hold of him. Then he's going to turn into a perennial All-Pro. So
exactly.
We're going to call episode 10 the sarcasm episode.
Right. There we go.
But then there was, we actually did bring a relatively well-known name anyway for people who follow the NFL. Brought in cornerback Bashaud Breeland, formerly of Kansas City. We brought him in for a visit on Thursday, and after everything was all said and done, the Vikings did make an offer to him. But after shortly after, I believe this was Friday, Mr. Breeland went on to Twitter and posted the following. Tweet number 1. Every team I played for threw me in the fire, demanding me to play at a starter level. I don't miss games for injuries. I started for 3 teams in 7 years. Rather, it was designed or earned that way. Check the stats. Then tweet number 2, I'm always wanted, but for what? LOL. Tweet number 3, you would think I'm asking for 10 mil or something. Like I'm really out here pricing myself. That was the narrative the past 2 years. Ha ha. I just say, give me what I deserve. Don't believe the hype. And I'm not a rapper. I make music, so don't believe that either. Ha ha. So apparently he wasn't pleased with the Vikings offer of the veteran minimum and $100 gift card to Costco as his contract for the upcoming year. So I don't know if he either overvalues himself considerably. I mean, at this point in time in the year, you're going to have to probably take less than, what you think you're worth.
I think a lot of guys have.
Yeah, and a lot have. But and like I said, I never heard numbers on what the contract offer was that we gave him, and it may have been, an extremely lowball offer.
We lowballed him.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. That's life. Get the fuck over it.
Well, right. I mean, you take a 1-year prove it deal and then go out and get more. Everybody contracts are all less this year due to the cap being down and stuff. So sign a 1-year.
I understand a guy, valuing his what he brings to the table, but
right.
You got to look at the market right now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta suck it up and take less than what you're worth or what you believe you're worth anyway, just to have a job.
Every player has to deal with, for the most part.
And let's be honest. I mean, veteran minimum is like $750,000. Other than 2/3 of the player, half to 2/3 of the players in the NFL or whatever it is. A good portion of the American public would kill for a $750,000 salary.
I do lots of things. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Exactly. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Or like Meatloaf, I would do anything but for love, but I won't do that, or whatever.
Right. But I won't do that.
Okay. Anyway, we'll move on again. The other thing that happened with the Vikings last week, our old buddy George Payton over there with the Denver Broncos poached Rick Spielman's #1 assistant, Kelly Klein, out of our front office. And I believe now in Denver, she is the highest ranking female in management in the NFL.
Good for her.
Which, yeah, it's great for her. Wish her all the best and everything else, and hopefully,
once again, that's the shit that goes on in the league.
Yep. And there again, from all accounts, she did a really good job with us. And, now we let another one go and probably go on to do great things elsewhere. But with that, the team also promoted 3 people from within the organization. They promoted Taylor Young to manager of football administration. And here again, I'm not sure what position any of these three women had before. They were in the organization, but I'm not sure what their prior positions were at. Then Carolina DeFelice to player personnel assistant. And Caitlin Zarecki is being promoted up to Kelly Klein's old position of manager of player development and special assistant to GM Rick Spielman. So
it's a good look to have for sure.
It is, you know, and
I don't mean anything by that, obviously, but you know, it's good.
Right. You know, it's nice to see, you know, women getting
females coming into
being more involved, you know,
in the past,
involved into what's always traditionally been a guy's sport. You know, it's nice to see that this kind of stuff, and people being promoted on merit and things like that. This is the way things should be, you know.
Yep.
So, you know, good luck to
so I also heard this week, to those women. Absolutely.
Yep.
So this week I also heard some rumblings going on about Griffin possibly coming back. You know, I've heard some fans wanting Griff back. You know, you hear them, you know, I'm sure you've seen it too, bud. Me, and I believe you personally as well. You know, I love Griff. I love what he did when he was here. But at this point in time, I believe we have a lot of talent at that position in particular. You know, people are saying that they want to see another vet come in, but I would like to see what we got in these young bucks.
Yep.
You know,
and you know,
defensive end.
The thing with Griffin, more than anything, it's the name familiarity. Oh, he's one of us. We need to bring him back. We need to bring, you know.
It's not always about that.
We're not running the NFL retirement home here. Griffin is pretty much tanked. I mean, he was terrible last year with Detroit, you know, in the couple of games he played for Dallas.
Real knows real sees real.
You know, we all loved Everson Griffin when he was here, but that doesn't mean we need to bring him back. I mean, you see the same thing. I've seen people saying, well, we need to bring Adrian Peterson back. No. Or the big one is, you know, we need to sign Larry Fitzgerald and bring him home.
Look at me. You embarrass me. You embarrass yourself.
He's 38 years old. From a leadership standpoint, sure, he'd be great. He's a great leader, would be great in the locker room. But we're not bringing in people to be just great in the locker room. They need to be able to produce on the field. And right now, I mean,
and that's just taking away a spot from one of these young guys that has the, you know, possibility of blossoming into something that could be greater, you know?
Yeah, I mean, greater than Larry Fitzgerald is a tall task, but here again, you know,
right.
Somebody like Smith,
at this point in time, though,
right?
I mean,
you got somebody like Smith Marset, or you know, some of these guys that we brought in, the UDFA guys and stuff that we brought into camp. These guys need a chance to see it, so we can see if they're worth a crap. You know,
exactly.
Bringing in tired, broken down old Larry Fitzgerald is not.
It's like taking a step back, in my opinion, instead of taking a step forward.
They're not. People aren't going by what the player can do for us. It's
one thing in this league that you got to be able to do is cut personal feelings.
Right. We love this guy and we need to have him here just because we like him. You know, well, and to a similar extent, you know, I heard rumblings again today about potential Geno Atkins coming in here. I have less desire to bring Geno Atkins in here than I do have to have Everson Griffin come back. You know, he played for Mike Zimmer. Guys, Mike Zimmer's been here this is his 9th season.
Yeah, time flies, but
season, whatever it's been, 8 years.
Geno was entering his prime when Mike Zimmer left Cincinnati.
So if we are you can no longer use he played for Mike Zimmer as a reason for trying to bring somebody in, because if he played for Mike Zimmer anywhere but here, by now they're well into their 30s and past their prime.
I'm going to tell you what, though. I agree with you there, Ryan. But prior to the Pierce, well, I can't really say that because we had him last year. But prior to the Tomlinson signing, I would have been okay bringing him in and giving him a look and then offering him a vet, you know, friendly contract, probably the exact we offered to Breland, and then just go from there.
Yeah, I mean,
at this point, though, with what we have and what we brought in, I'm liking what I see.
Right. And I mean, like I mentioned earlier, we're not running a retirement home for NFL players here. We need to be younger.
Or a charity.
Or a charitable organization. We need to be younger. We need to have bring guys in who could maybe help this team for the next
That want
5
to
to
carve
6,
out
5 to
their
6
own path.
years. Not the next 12 months.
Right.
So I guess that's
And
my thoughts on the whole thing. But
Miracle on 34th Street stories are, 1 in a million.
mm-hmm.
So exactly.
Yeah,
Anyways, I just wanted to
anyway.
bring that up. I thought that was another thing we could pop in there and talk about a little bit.
Yep. So anyway, we'll move on from that. Then one other thing I saw today when I was looking through stuff, it's starting to get that time of the year now where we're done with mock drafts. Now we're going to move over to power rankings, which make about as much sense half the time as mock drafts do.
Right.
But I thought this one was interesting, and it's sure to rile the feathers of a few Vikings fans. I mean, we're as realistic as they come on this show here, and even I said this is a little bit on the low
I'm willing
side.
to listen to I'm willing to listen to anybody in their argument, and
Right.
At the end of the day, we're all Vikings fans. We all want the same things.
Yeah, but
So
Peter King of Football Morning in America put out his first power rankings in a while here today, and he has the Vikings ranked 24th.
that's very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Now, his reasoning for this was, as bad as the Vikings defense and stuff was last year, he's not convinced they did enough to improve that back to the. Now, he's talking about bringing in Tomlinson
Do you happen to have that
Patrick
list
Peterson
in front of you there, Ryan?
of the.
Of the power rankings?
Give me 1 second and I can find it.
Let's see who he has above us.
Okay, give me 1 minute here.
You bet.
1 hour later.
Let's find reasons to upset ourselves.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we will run through the power rankings here real quick and just kind of give our impressions. When
Pick out a few teams you think we should be ahead of.
Yeah. Okay. Start off. No big surprise. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Buffalo are the top 3.
Okay.
Cleveland 4th. San Francisco bounces all the way up to 5.
I like that. I like that.
I can get on with that one because we talked about that last week or when we were doing the or the
He's
week
got
before when we did
the
the
top
schedule.
5 pretty good.
Yeah. 6 through 10 is the Rams, Baltimore. That team from Wisconsin's down at 8, and that's and at number 8, that's assuming that Aaron Rodgers plays for him.
Right. You would think.
Yeah. He says that right in there. He's hedging his bet on Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
9th is Indianapolis.
Baltimore's a little high in my opinion.
Yeah. 10th is the Chargers.
Okay.
Okay. Now we start getting into the second set of 10. Here's one that I think he's got way too high. He's got the Dolphins at number 11. Now, granted, they brought in a bunch of weapons. They signed Will Fuller. They drafted Jalen Waddle.
Tua's got a lot to prove.
But yeah,
2-yarder.
Tua has to improve off of his 2-yard Tua moniker from last year in order for them to be anywhere close to the top, 12 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle 12th. New Orleans, they've got it 13. I think that's
I can see that.
I think it's a
I
little
can see that's
high.
a little high. Right.
Because we don't know what's going on with either Jameis Winston, who the last time he was a full-time starter threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Like him or Taysom Hill, whatever. Arizona at 14. That's probably about right.
I tell you what, if Taysom Hill gets that start there in New Orleans, he's going to fizzle out eventually.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion.
As a full-time starter, yeah, I would agree. Like I said, Arizona at 14. The Washington whatevers are 15th.
Okay.
Okay, and they got Fitzmagic now basically going to be the starter the way it sounds.
I could see us in front of Washington for sure.
Yeah. Chicago at 8-8, or they got them at 6, or it was 8-8 last year. They got them at 16. We're getting into this should be about the range, in that
where we should be
14 to 17 range.
Exactly. That's what my feeling is too.
Be.
Yep. Now that you've read them off, I get the feeling this is about the range we should be as well.
Yep. So Chicago, New England at 17. I mean, with Cam Newton starting, they were putrid last year. You know,
And there's some rumors about Julio ending up there as well.
yeah, because he said he would like to play with Cam Newton. Now, if you put Julio Jones in there, and then, you know, with the Cam Newton or Mac Jones or whoever the hell is going to be quarterback, plus they got Hunter Henry,
Yeah.
you know, I could see New England being about there. That's probably about right.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee at 18. Now their defense was worse than ours last year, especially like they had fewer sacks and we didn't. I think they only had like 16 or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I think we should be up in about that range as well. I would
yeah,
say
I'm
in my
saying-
personal power rankings, I'd put us about between 14 and 17.
Yep,
Ish.
I would say about that same 15th, whatever.
Looks like that sounds like a good preseason power ranking spot right there.
Yep, Pittsburgh at 19. You know, I think Pittsburgh is on a downward trend.
I believe so.
Big Ben is about spent, but they got him for one more year. They got the Giants at 20th.
I can't believe they're ahead of us. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
This is surprising for as much as people have been riding these guys as knobs all preseason. Dallas at 21st.
I'm interested to see how Dak comes off that ankle
Yeah,
injury.
I mean that there is a big question there.
He says if they played today, he'd be ready to go.
Yep. Then at 22nd, they have Atlanta. 23rd, they have the Vegas Raiders.
How could you put Atlanta and Vegas ahead of us?
Atlanta did beat us last year.
That was all on a luck.
Yeah, and a horrible game by a quarterback that we won't name because it's good. We'll have pitchforks and torches
coach
outside
that
of our
can't
doors.
Make adjustments in game anymore because he's living in the 80s.
Right. So here we hit Minnesota at 24th.
I know, guys, if you want to reach through the computer screens and slap me around a little bit, you can go ahead and try, but it's not going to work.
Right. So the reasoning for him putting us at 24th he says the annual Kirk Cousins referendum is getting so tired. Cousins has played in some big games, to be sure, and for the Vikings to draft Kellen Mond because they're tired of being tethered to a gigantic quarterback cap number every year is okay. But my focus here is not on the quarterback. It's on the part that I am sure made Mike Zimmer lose hundreds of hours of sleep. The Vikings had won 5 of 6 entering the last quarter of the season and were 6-6 with their playoff fate in their own hands. They proceeded to allow 37 points a game and in those last 4 spiraling out of the playoffs. You know, talked about the 52.
Yeah, my stomach just turned a little bit there.
Yep. He talks about though they got one of his favorite players on the free agent market and Dalvin Tomlinson. Vikes are gambling on Patrick Peterson. They said here. He says,
and
I've
seen some good things on Pat.
Yeah. And blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. So
he is getting up there in age, but he's a once in a generation talent, in my opinion, too.
Yeah. So I mean,
we'll see.
Here again, take it for what it's worth. Power rankings, you know, I hold them in as much regard as a lot of mock drafts.
Yep.
They're pretty much worthless. It's just something to fill time with.
Yeah.
But so we beat that pretty much dead. So we'll move on. So now, before we move on to some more info and stuff, we're going to hit you guys with our weekly classic beer commercial. So check this out and we'll be back in a minute.
We're here at the 18th hole of this light beer open, and we've seen some real unusual shots today.
You said it.
Hey, Bob, I think you got a birdie.
Elsie, how am I supposed to hit it through this tree?
No problem, Bert.
How's Yuka going to get out of this one?
That calls for another light beer from Miller.
Make it 2,
3, 4.
It's a good thing light's less filling.
Back to you, Ricky.
John, the last player's approaching the tee.
And when it goes to 100, you sell. I won't be long, girls. Hold my calls, will you? It hit the weather vane. It's in the drain. Here it comes out. It's going on the green. Goes in the hole.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
This open ought to be closed.
All right, we're back. Hope you guys like the commercial.
It's a good one.
Yep, we enjoy these, so we'll keep them rolling as we go along here. But we're gonna do a new segment this week, kind of just something we thought up on the fly here this morning.
Changing this one out with
Change it up a little
with
bit.
the Where Are They Now? This will take its spot for today.
Yep, kind of do trying to bring you guys some real information and some interesting bits of statistics and maybe some records and things that you guys may not have been aware of.
We're gonna juice some of your Viking knowledge here.
Yep. So the one we're going to go with today on Did You Know is that former Viking safety Paul Krauss holds the NFL record for interceptions. So over Paul Krauss's career, over his career, he had a total of 81 interceptions. 53 of those came with Minnesota.
I could only think of guys that were my idols being in the Hall of Fame and not me. And all of a sudden, you're not thrust in that position, but you're put in that position because of your football abilities and what you have done through your career. And all of a sudden, you're one of them. And it is just a fabulous opportunity for us. We probably don't even deserve it, but through history, it works that way. And so we're in the Hall of Fame and they can't kick us out. Fortunately, I got more interceptions than anybody's ever had. And I still hold the record and it feels pretty good.
So you look back at Paul Krauss, over his career, he played from 1964 until 1979.
Was originally a Redskin, correct?
Yep. For the first 4 years, he played for the team formerly known as the Redskins, 64 through 67. Then came here in 1968 in a trade where the Vikings gave up tight end, or
this was amazing on our part.
Yeah, he was Marlon Mckeever and a 7th round pick. Now, Marlon Mckeever started out with the Rams, played linebacker for 3 years. Then they switched him to tight end. And he was here for the 1967 season.
Played tight end for us.
Yep. So he had a grand total of 14 receptions for 184 yards. So we gave up that stat machine and a 7th round pick to get one of arguably the best safeties
to ever play the game back there.
81 interceptions.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah, that is.
I never got to see that. I've seen the lights, the highlights, but I never got to witness that, as a fan live, in front of my TV or at a stadium.
Yeah.
So,
and Krauss was before my time even, he retired in 79. And I really wasn't at a point where I was understanding much about football till, 80, 81. So I missed out on it as well. But, as you can see in some of the, in the highlight reel we played earlier here, he's a hell of a player, one of the greatest.
He could probably still play today. Not at his age, excuse me.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's suiting up and playing now, But no, he was a hell of a player for us. One of the greatest to ever put on a purple uniform.
They need to have the geriatric league.
Yeah.
Let's sign up, Ryan.
Yeah, there we go. We'd still get our asses handed to us. But anyway, we just kind of figured we'd start throwing some interesting tidbits in every once in a while here, just to kind of teach you guys something maybe you didn't know. And like I said, we even learned something. I wasn't aware of what the trade was when we got Krauss over here. When you think about it, that's probably comes down as one of the greatest steals.
Yeah, it was a steal
that we could possibly,
ever
in the league history, probably,
But you know what? When you got a trade like a Herschel Walker trade, then that gets, tossed out the window, and they just looked at like idiots all the time.
We're not going to go to that one. Mike Lynn can just go pound sand as far as I'm concerned too. But
right.
So anyway, we'll move on to one of our
If you don't know, now you know.
Yep. So now we're going to move on to one of our other original segments. This one is our weekly.
What the hell?
So this week's What the Hell thing, this came out last week, and I saw this on Twitter, and I'm like, I didn't even know what to say when I looked at this. There was a guy, somebody posted a thing.
It's got to be some young kid thinking he knows everything about football.
And if you looked at the picture that was by it, he looked like he was about, 12, 15, whatever, so, but came up with the assertion that Tyreke Hill is the best deep threat the NFL has ever seen. I seem to remember some guy that wore a purple number 84.
I want to see Tyreke Hill's deep ball catches up against Randy Moss's deep ball catches. And then I want to see somebody's honest opinion about who has more deep ball catches and who was a better deep ball threat. Well, because the answer's in the pudding, people.
I just so happen to have that kind of stuff here for you. Tyreke Hill, over his 5-year career with the Kansas City Chiefs, he's got 386 receptions, or 368, sorry. I got a little dyslexia going on here. For 5,391 yards. Yards per reception at 14.6. He's got 233 first downs, 47 touchdowns, an average of 72.9 yards per game, with an average of 9.8 yards per target. So, it's very respectable.
It's respectable.
But then on to Randy Moss.
I'm interested to hear what you're about to say about Moss.
I've got two of the stat lines from Moss. I've got over his entire career and over his 8-year career with Minnesota. So we'll start So we'll start with the overall. 900.
You want the whooping or you want the ass whooping?
So remember, over the entire career, he had the few unassuming years with the Raiders. Right. Then he had a little bit of a career resurgence with New England.
I'd say you could almost compare his New England career with Minnesota
to an extent. And
I believe a lot of those Patriots guys they take Randy as one of their own too.
Yep. And then he came back here, for part of his season until
Brad Childers decided to shit in his Cheerios.
Yep. And Brad got rid of Randy and the Wilfs got rid of Brad because he got rid of Randy. So,
and rightfully so. Fuck you, Brad.
yep. And then, but then after that, he went to Tennessee and he went, did the last couple of years of his career, he just kind of, I don't know if he lost interest or what happened, but he, kind of went off as far as stat goes. But so his career numbers reflect all of that stuff, of course. Over his entire career, he had 982 receptions for 15,292 yards, an average of 15.6 yards per reception. So over his career, a full yard over what Tyreke Hill did. 156 touchdowns versus 47. 684 first downs versus 233. The average yards per game actually over his career, total career, was less. It was 70.1 versus 72.9.
Okay.
And yards per target over the career was 8.8 versus 9.8 for Tyreke Hill. But now
longevity there though too is going to make those numbers skew down a little bit more.
And like I said, you've got the last 3 years there where Moss didn't really do a whole lot.
Moss got a handful of years where, well, I would say about 4 seasons that were kind of chuck out the window, because you got the years in Oakland and then the odds and ends years at the end of his career where he never really had a home. So
no. So then now here we'll look at the this is the first 7 years when he was with Minnesota, and then also
you got to remember that Moss wasn't playing with fucking Patrick Mahomes either.
Yeah, and then there's also the little bit of that year that he was here with Brad Childress figured in with this as well. But over his Vikings career, he had 587 receptions for 9,316 yards. Yards per reception was 15.9. So that's 1.3 better than Tyreke Hill.
Right.
92 touchdowns versus 47. So for Tyreke to tie him in touchdowns over the next 3 years, he'd have to get 42 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's asking a lot.
It's doable, but it's asking an awful lot. First downs for Moss, 407 versus 233. Here's the most telling number for deep ball threat. Randy Moss, in the 8 years with the Vikings, his average yards per game was 82.4 versus 72.9 for Tyreke Hill. So Moss averaged like 10 yards per game more than Hill does, and over a career, that's significant.
Yeah.
And then yards per target, here again, 9.2 versus 9.8, so it's relatively close. But
I say at the end of Tyreke Hill has at the end of his career, come back and take a look at those numbers, and then it'll be a little even closer to average yet. Yeah, depending on how the end of his career fades off, or whatever may happen with Mr. Hill in Kansas City.
Right. So now, and there's odds are they're not, they won't be able to afford Tyreke Hill forever either. He may end up going to
Las Vegas,
the Jets, or some irrelevant team where his numbers are going to take a tank too. But so, I mean, Tyreke Hill, great player, but to say that he's better than Randy Moss is
too early, too soon.
And you watch, if you watch Hill play, yeah, he makes some nice catches and stuff, but they're nice catches. But when you looked at what Randy Moss did when he was here, especially when he first came into the league, he transcended the position. He's without question one of the top 3 wide receivers in NFL history anyway. You can argue, Jerry
Moss
Wright
made people his bitch at every single level of the game.
Yeah. One thing with Randy that, hurt these numbers even a little bit was that he had that I play when I want to play attitude sometimes. So he took stuff off where these numbers could be even better.
Right.
Had he put 100% in at all times. But, like I said, with your top receivers, you're looking Jerry Rice, you're looking Chris Carter, and you're looking Randy Moss, whichever order you want to put those guys in.
Even Calvin Johnson, You know, I think
I don't
you
even
throw
put
in there.
I don't even put Calvin in that tier. You know, there's some will put To up in that category. I honestly don't think that highly of
I
To
don't.
either. But
I think pretty highly of Megatron, but that's just me.
yeah, but there again, he
He had Stafford thrown to him too, who has very great. He's got a good arm too. So
right. So it's not like he had Brooks Bollinger throwing to him or anything like that. You know, which
yeah.
But
Spurgeon win.
Yeah, but anybody who's going to say that Hill was a better deep threat obviously never watched Randy play in his prime.
No, that's what I was thinking as well. Yeah, you never actually got a chance to sit down and see Randy play, especially in those first few years.
Yep.
He came into the league and he took the league by storm, like no other player, in my opinion.
Those deep 50-50 balls, that would to any other player, Randy usually made him like a 70-30 instead of 50-50.
Yeah, a lot of the times that was Randy coming down with that ball.
That was always the thing with when him and Dante were hooked up together. It's just chuck it deep and I'll go get it thing.
Yep, and that was a lot of his. I believe that's what he told Cunningham when he first came in. Just throw it as deep as you can and I'll go get it.
Yep. So I mean,
Jeff George couldn't even outthrow the guy.
Yeah, and
the dude had a cannon for an arm.
Jeff George had one of the strongest arms in the NFL, and yeah,
but one of the smallest brains as well.
That's another story for another day, though. So we won't,
He did good while I was here, though.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, Jeff.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So yeah, that's take it for what it's worth, our opinion, but I just had to laugh at that when I saw him try to tell us that Tyreke Hill was better than Moss, because I'll still take Moss 12 times.
I'll never forget that feeling every time you've seen that ball get launched, and the feeling of where it was going and who it was going to.
Yep. And if you saw 84 streaking down the field, you had a pretty good feeling.
Putting that arm up in the air. Yeah.
Yep. Because it was, and that's what a lot of it was. It was more like sandlot football. It was just I'm going deep, throw it as hard as you freaking can, and I'll catch it.
Yep.
So that was Randy, but so
God, I love Randy. My favorite player of all time, by the way, people.
We'll take that straight cash, homie, and roll on.
Yeah. Randy will shake his dick at him a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, we've done that enough. So realistically, that's about all we got for this week. So like I said, it was kind of a slow week, so we'll make do. We got to have
a little bit more fun this week, I think.
Yep, I think so. We can, we kind of dove in a little bit and maybe went off on a few extra tangents.
We went a little
but hey, we're all about not only teaching you guys something but we're all about having fun and hoping you guys are enjoying. Right. If we're having fun, we're hoping you guys are having fun too. So that's the biggest thing.
A good way to enjoy us is cracking one open before we start.
Yep, I got my mics again this week. I had mango this week because the damn.
I'm going with water this week. This is not vodka.
A gallon jug. Not vodka, it's moonshine, probably.
Right.
But we want to thank everybody for continuing to watch us. Thank you for allowing us to put 10 episodes out. We really appreciate it. You like what you see, smash that red subscribe button and hit that little bell so it'll tell you every time we're putting out a new video. Usually our previews come out Wednesday, and then the show is always Friday night at 6 p.m. If you're on the road, you can catch us on audio format.
Right.
We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Pandora.
Amazon.
We've got a couple hundred downloads or between 100 and 200 downloads. We're hitting on that now, which
I'm proud of every one of those goddamn downloads.
Absolutely. We're up to 8 as of time of taping here Monday afternoon. We're up to 87 subscribers.
Yeah.
On the YouTube channel. And
thank you.
Goal number. Once we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to figure out a contest of some sort.
Right.
For reaching 500. So stay tuned for that. We're still working on the details for it, but when we get to that point, we'll give you guys the details. And again, thank everybody for continuing to watch us. We're going to keep doing this. Got OTAs and stuff coming up, going on now as we speak. not too long from mandatory mini camps, and we're only 2 months away from the start of training camp. So
I was gonna say a month off, and then training camp's right around the door. So
yep. So again, thanks everybody for watching. Why don't you check us out, Lance?
hey guys, thanks for joining the page on Facebook. I've been really busy lately, posting pictures, coming up with shit to find and bring people into our community. If you guys could all keep watching the show, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Our show is going to continue to evolve. We are always talking, Rhino and I. We're hoping to do, different things later on as we go, like a contest, or I'm really hoping to get some.
I almost forgot something. And I don't know how I forgot this, because we fanboyed the shit out of this on Saturday. You guys are not going to guess who's following our Facebook page right now.
Right. It's badass.
One of the greatest Vikings players ever and member of the famed Purple People Eaters,
Carl, if you are watching, Moose, hello,
is now following our Facebook page. And Carl, yes, if you're watching this show, thank you so much for the follow.
It's badass.
You're a legend, and that's probably the biggest thing that's happened to us.
We're not worthy.
Yeah.
We're not worthy.
That's literally the biggest thing that's happened to us in the first 10 episodes, is having
that's awesome.
Carl Eller follow us.
I about shit my pants when I seen that.
Yeah, I had my daughter's graduation and stuff this weekend, and Lance sends me a message while we're doing the grad party. I'm like, holy shit.
Holy shit! There were blanks in that gun. Maybe he had a heart attack. Holy shit!
Right. Badass.
So I mean, that's awesome. And Carl, like I said, if you're watching, thank you. You have no idea what that means to us. We really appreciate it. And now back to your regularly scheduled Lance wrap up.
Yes. All you guys on our Facebook page, I would like to get you all involved with this. I'm thinking of something, along the lines of the pulse. The pulse. Get a feel of like where the fans are at with everything. Maybe do some polls later on as we go throughout the show. And as we get into the season, I want to try and get you guys as involved as we possibly can, because that's just going to make everything a lot funner.
Yep. Exactly.
So keep coming. We won't let you down, and your guys will be in for a treat. So stick around.
Yep. And with that, we will see you guys next week.